Hello and welcome to Rando Tech Info. So today we're talking benchmarks, 7 generations of smartphone benchmarks. I feel like you hear it a lot these days, people saying that performance upgrades on phones have really gotten incremental, that from year to year, you're not really seeing a lot of improvement in smartphone performance. And this got me to thinking, is this actually true? Shortly after that, I had another thought. Why not test it? So I did. Using Geekbench 5, I was able to test the CPU performance of 7 generations of smartphone dating all the way back to 2015. Now, I know benchmark tests aren't the end-all, be-all as far as testing performance, but they are a somewhat reliable indicator of performance, and it's easily quantifiable data, so it's easy to see year over year just how many gains have been made. The specific testing I did here is with Qualcomm's highest-end Snapdragon processor from every year since it was in the Nexus 6P in 2015. I couldn't go back any farther than that because I couldn't find any benchmark tests that would go any farther back than that. Actually, that's not entirely true. There were a couple of benchmark tests that did go a little farther back, but then those same tests wouldn't work on modern day phones. 3D benchmark slingshot test is a perfect example of this. If you want to know about iPhone benchmarks, I'm sure there's another YouTube channel somewhere that's done a test pretty similar to this. Now, I had these big ideas about how I was going to film these benchmarks and show them to you in an interesting way, but older phones take a really long time to run benchmarks.
Boring.
So I decided just to skip all that pain and get right to the results. First up, from 2015, we have the Nexus 6P with the Snapdragon 810 processor running on the 20 nanometer platform versus the original Google Pixel from 2016 with the Snapdragon 821 processor running on a 14 nanometer platform. And as you can see, there were relatively decent gains in both single and multi-core performance here, a 29% increase in single core and a 14% increase in the multi-core. Next, we put that same Pixel up against the Google Pixel 2 XL from 2017. This phone had the Snapdragon 835 processor running on a 10 nanometer platform. Now, like last year, there was a similar increase in single-core performance, but there was a huge increase in multi-core performance. This was the biggest jump in either core performance, single or multi-core performance, in any of these tests, over doubling the previous year's score. Next up, from 2018, we have the Oneplus 6T with the Snapdragon 845 processor, also running on the 10 nanometer platform. This year saw significant gains in both single and multi-core performance, with a 44% increase in single and a 67% increase in multi-core. Next up, in 2019, we have the OnePlus 7T. This phone was running on the Snapdragon 855 Plus processor, which was the best processor Qualcomm came out with that year, and this year they moved to a 7 nanometer platform. This year saw the biggest yet gains in single-core performance with a 56% increase. Multi-core performance gains did decrease quite a bit, down to 17%. Next up, from 2020, we have the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra with the Snapdragon 865 Plus processor, also running on the 7 nanometer platform. This year sees a significant decrease in single-core processing with only a 17% year-over-year gain. Multi-core processing drops all the way down to a 6% gain. Last up, from 2021, we have the Galaxy S21 Ultra running on Qualcomm's Snapdragon 888 processor on its new 5 nanometer platform. This year sees a little bit of a rebound in single-core performance upgrade with a 23% increase in performance, while multi-core performance once again receives a very modest upgrade in performance at 6%. So now that we have all the numbers, what have we learned? We've learned that single-core performance actually over the years has been relatively consistent, never being less than a 17% year-over-year gain, while also never being higher than a 56% year-over-year gain. In addition, that big 56% increase we saw was between 2018 and 2019, so actually not that long ago. The story with multi-core performance is a bit different. There were huge gains between 2016 and 2019, with performance gains really tapering off the last couple of years, with only seeing a 6% increase from 2019 to 2020 and from 2020 to 2021. So it turns out that performance gains have decreased recently over the last couple of years, particularly in multi-core performance. This is particularly surprising from last year to this year because Qualcomm moved from the 7 nanometer platform to the 5 nanometer platform. Beyond that, gains probably actually feel even less than they really are. Let me give you an example. If you're able to cut the time in half it takes to open an app from 10 seconds to 5 seconds, you're going to notice that difference a lot more than cutting down the time to open an app from 2 seconds to 1 second. As performance increases with any type of device, not just smartphones, those gains are less and less noticed, especially by people who aren't hardcore tech users. So I think at the end of the day, what we've really learned is if you have a smartphone from the last couple of years, there's absolutely no reason to upgrade right now based solely on performance. There may be new features or new cameras or better battery life or different things that compel you to upgrade, and that's fine. But if you just need better performance, you're not really getting huge gains. If you have a smartphone from 2019, that phone's probably still chugging along just fine, and you can probably wait another year before you have to upgrade. After doing all this testing, I'm curious, what phone are you using right now, and how would you still rate its performance in 2021? Please put that information down in the comments so other people can learn from you. Also, if you're going to take the time to go down in the comments anyway, why not go ahead and subscribe to the channel?
Just like him to wait to the last minute.
Well, that's all the information I have for today. As always, I hope you found the video useful. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Rando Tech Info, signing out.